and today we'll embark on a curious journey through the lens of formalist literary criticism. Have you ever wondered what makes a story more than just a set of words? Well, we will answer that by diving deep into the world of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Before we start our lesson, let's center ourselves with a moment of prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day and for the opportunity to learn. May you guide our hearts and minds to focus, understand, and appreciate the knowledge we gain. Amen.
Oh my god! Where am I? Do I know you? Wait. Are you one of the inspirants? How curious! Come! Let's wander together to the structure of Wonderland. But before we journey through rabbit holes and curious tales, let's begin with a fun challenge to get our minds going. Alright, inspirants! To unlock the key to Wonderland, we need to solve this riddle. Let's begin! What do you think this bottle symbolizes in Wonderland? What transformation could it represent for Alice? You're right. The answer is the bottle symbolizes change and transformation. It's a literal and metaphorical journey for Alice, representing the way she continually changes throughout her adventure. It also reflects the confusion and curiosity she feels in Wonderland. What does the Cheshire Cat smile tell us about the world of Wonderland? How does it feel to represent the theme of logic and chaos? You're right. The answer is the Cheshire Cat's smile represents the paradox and absurdity in Wonderland. It's both comforting and confusing, indicating that in Wonderland, logic is not to be trusted, and chaos is the true reality. The smile also represents how everything in Wonderland is illogical, yet it still follows some form of order. Thank you, inspirants! Now that we have unlocked the door to the Wonderland, let's dive into the structure of this incredible world through a formalist lens. Are you ready to look at Alice's Adventures in Wonderland with fresh eyes? Let's go!
Formalist criticism focuses entirely on the text's internal features. So, what does it mean? Well, instead of looking at the author's background, historical context, or outside influences, formalism only examines the form, structure, language, imagery, and symbols of the text itself.
In the case of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, we will analyze how Carol uses the narrative structure, the characters, and the language to create meaning. We will also look at how recurring symbols and imagery contribute to the themes of the story. Now, let's take a closer look at the structure of the story. Formalism focuses heavily on how a narrative unfolds, its beginning, middle, and the end.
In Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, the structure is highly episodic. That means there is no linear plot where events follow one after another in a clear and rational way. Instead, Alice's journey is filled with a series of random and bizarre encounters that don't seem to follow a predictable order.
Alice, bored and curious, follows the white rabbit down the hole and enters Wonderland. She meets a series of eccentric characters like the White Rabbit, the Cheshire Cat, and the Mad Hatter. Each interaction is nonsensical and pushes Alice to question the rules of reality. The chaos reaches its peak when Alice is called to the trial of the Knave of Hearts, where absurdity rules the court. Alice wakes up from her dream, realizing it was all fantastical adventure. Next, let's uncover the rich symbolism in Wonderland. Everything in the story is a symbol that adds to the meaning of the text. Formalist criticism pays close attention to these symbols because they are part of the structure that builds the overall message of the story. Let's break it down. Here are a few key symbols and devices in the text. Me represent times and urgency. Alice's pursuit of the rabbit symbolizes her quest to understand time and the limits of control in her life. This green symbolizes the paradox. It's both reassuring and cryptic, suggesting that logic doesn't always explain everything, especially in Wonderland. These are symbols of transformation. Every time Alice eats or drinks something, she physically changes. But more importantly, she changes the inside to growing, shrinking, and discovering her own identity. The Queen of Hearts represent arbitrary authority and absurd power. Her constant threats symbolize a critique of authoritarian control, emphasizing the absurdity of absolute power. Me, as Alice, represents curiosity and self-discovery. Through her journey, Alice asks questions, challenges the rules, and learns more about herself and the world around her. Each of these symbols isn't just a quirky part of Wonderland. They serve to deepen the story's meaning. They help us understand the underlying themes of growing up, self-exploration, and the confusion that often accompanies it. Now that we have uncovered some symbols, let's talk about how all these elements work together to create the story's themes. Formalism shows us how the form of the text contributes to its deeper meanings. Curiosity as a path to growth. Alice's endless questions and explorations symbolize how curiosity drives us to grow, learn, and challenge our understanding of the world.
Chaos and change as a reflection of life. The chaotic, unpredictable events in Wonderland mirror the confusion and unpredictability of life itself, especially in the process of growing up.
Search for identity. Throughout the story, Alice tries to make sense of herself in a world that constantly shifts. The confusion she faces in Wonderland reflects the inner turmoil we sometimes feel when trying to understand who we really are.
By analyzing the story structure, symbols, and devices, we see how the form of the text, its episodic nature, strange characters, and recurring symbols directly contribute to its overarching themes. Formalism helps us realize that the structure of the story isn't just random. It's purposeful and deeply connected to the message. The white rabbit, Cheshire cat, and other symbols represent key themes like time, authority, and transformation. Curiosity, chaos, and the search for identity are central themes in Alice's adventures in Wonderland, and they're explored through the structure and symbols of the text. Formalist criticism helps us uncover how every part of the text, structure, symbols, and the language works together to convey deeper meanings. And as you have seen, even a whimsical, nonsensical world like Wonderland has a lot to teach us about life, growth, and the world around us. Alright, Inspirants, time to test your understanding. Let's take a quick look at this passage and analyze it using formalist criticism. The caterpillar smoked a hookah and stared at Alice. He asked her, "Who are you?" Take a minute to think about this. Ask yourself. Post your answer or write it down. What do you think this passage reveals about Alice's journey? Don't worry if you're unsure. Just focus on the text itself. I'll check your answers in a bit. Another one to analyze. The Cheshire cat smiled slowly and said, "We're all mad here." Go ahead, analyze it using the same questions: structure, language, and symbols. Let's see what insights you come up with. Great job, Inspirants! Keep practicing your analysis. We will dive into more literary techniques in the next lesson. Inspirants, our curious journey through Wonderland is coming to a close. But before we return to the real world, let's take a moment to reflect.
What did we discover? First, we explored formalism, where meaning is found within the text in its structure, symbols, and language.
We saw how Alice's Adventures in Wonderland uses a dreamlike plot and unusual characters to show themes and identity, growth, and logic versus absurdity.
And we learned that every element, from the nonsensical plot to the symbolic imagery, works together to deepen our understanding. Before we go, think about how the structure and symbolism in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland connect with your own experiences. Have you ever faced a situation where things didn't make sense at first, but later revealed deeper meaning? How does this idea of curiosity and discovery resonate with you? Expirants, thank you for joining me in this adventure. I hope you will continue exploring and asking questions, just like Alice. See you in our next adventure. Bye bye!